Lust ruined my life. I'm almost 18 years old, and throughout high school, my biggest struggle was lust. It started off at age 14, getting discovered to corn, watching it, getting addicted to that dopamine rush it gave me. And it was the biggest battle I've had throughout my high school years. So if you're 14 to 17, please watch this video so you don't get stuck in the same cycle I was caught in. Firstly, lust. The reason why it's so addictive. The reason why it is so hard to get out of is because it feels so good. It gives you when you're anxious, it cures your anxiety. When you're stressed, it cures your stress. But what it does is it doesn't cure it. It just leaves you feeling numb, feeling worse than before, having less emotion. Because what it does is gooning, lust, corn, if you are gooning, is it takes your energy. It strips your energy from you and it just destroys you as a man. And it leaves you feeling empty, feeling numb, feeling guilty, and just overall hating yourself. And then throughout high school, you get exposed to things such as hookup culture. I didn't dig into that. I didn't get really too attached to that stuff. But hookup culture, you search for lust over love. You get love and lust confused. You use people to mask intimacy, because what we all want as human beings is intimacy, and we often can get intimacy confused with lust, especially as young men. We get it because it makes you feel good. You feel like, okay, I'm doing something, right? I'm conquering something as a man. But every time you give into it, whether it's gooning with your own hand, whether it's getting with some girl, the way you feel after is always numb. You never feel accomplished. You never feel good. You never feel like you just did something which is good for you. No, you feel numb, you feel empty, and you're full of self-hatred. And this cycle will keep you stuck, and it will destroy your life. So the way you're going to get out of lust, if you're in between the ages of 14 to 17, you're in high school, you have, all this stuff being pushed upon you, OnlyFans, gooning culture, brain rot, hookup culture in high school. People are telling you, yeah, hook up, all your friends maybe are. What you need to first understand is it's never worth it. They always regret it, because what happens is, firstly, if you're hooking up with a bunch of girls in high school, is you lose, it's special, right? Having sex with someone is special. So when you're going around doing it, I have a friend who's been through this cycle. He's hooked up with a bunch of girls, and it's not special anymore. He can't really have a true intimate connection with someone, because he's ruined that ability, and he's melted his brain. He's melted that ability of spirituality with another person by hooking up with all of these girls. So it detaches you from the true meaning behind sex. The soul bonds you cause. It kills your soul. So that's why hookup culture is so damaging. Gooning it's going to be pushed upon you, and it just steals everything from you. Watching porn is so bad for you. You sit there on your phone. And think about how weird it is. You're watching your phone and you're stroking yourself because you're trying to imitate an act of intimacy, because you're so lonely. You have no girl to talk to. You're sitting there just doing that to try to imitate you being with a girl. It's so sad. And it's sad that this stuff is so accessible, because it's there, right? It's there to mask intimacy, but it's never going to give you the same feeling intimacy gave you. All it does is give you like a watered down version of intimacy that doesn't really true love. It lightens you up. It makes you feel amazing. You feel alive. This stuff just kind of gives you that fake intimacy, but it drains you. It leaves you feeling numb. So you don't really need to go out and talk to girls, but you feel numb. It gives you just enough pleasure to the point where you don't have to go out and talk to girls and actually build a loving relationship, but it doesn't give you that joy. It just leaves you feeling horrible about yourself. So you really need to be careful of these two things, because lust is the destroyer of men. It will destroy you from your purpose. It will stick with you for the rest of your life if you let it. You see this, there's 60, 70-year-old men who are watching porn because it's the only sort of pleasure they can get. They've trained their brain that they need to watch this stuff. So you need to be super careful of it, because what happens is the more you do it, it becomes a habit. So you need to write down, get a journal, be conscious. This is how you're going to stop. Be conscious. What is triggering me to give into lust? Is it an emotion? Am I stressed? Am I anxious? Is it a certain time of the day, at night, in the morning? Is it a certain place, in my room, in my bathroom? You need to figure out what is triggering me to do this. What's the cue? And then what routine do I go down when the trigger happens? Maybe you get the trigger, you try to fight it for a few minutes, then you open your phone, you go on Instagram, you look at girls on Instagram, then you go to Twitter, then you watch corn, then you relapse. That is the routine. And then what's the reward? The reward is the relapse. You feel less stressed. You feel less anxious. You got a little bit of pleasure. So you need to change this loop. You need to change this habit. And the way you're going to change the habit is by keeping keeping the trigger and keeping the reward, but you change the routine. So one thing you can do is you can use light therapy, right? There's an app called Rewired. I use the app Rewired, but what you do is I'll show you guys. It's a good app. It's called Rewired, but it helps me a lot. I'll put it in the description. But you use this and it retrains your brain. So let me show you guys kind of how this works, because this has helped me a lot, especially quit this degenerate stuff. So like, look, urge control, right? You start your session, then boom, it talks to you. I have AirPods on, but you close your eyes, and it talks to you. And what this does is it gives you the same sort of reward that gooning gives you. You do it, and that urge goes away because you feel at peace. You feel accomplished. You feel good. So you can use this to retrain your brain, to retrain that habit cycle. Because that's how you actually quit corn. You don't quit corn from, having more willpower, more discipline. You quit it by doing that. So that's how you're actually going to quit porn, stop gooning, all of that. But be careful of lust. Lust ruined my life. Don't let it ruin yours.